So Steve, I want to say where we're at.
We're at Sally Prestile's garden.
And this is Escondido?
Yeah, pretty much Escondido, yeah.
Awesome neighborhood
Yeah,
though.
it's a beautiful neighborhood. Beautifully
Nice
landscaped.
desertscape.
Yeah, nice kind of semi-natural Japanese garden. Really pretty. This blue tulips and juniper came from Lindsay's nursery up in Mount Fuji, and it's doing beautiful here.
Oh wow, she has a view.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful
That's
view.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow, she has a massive collection. So
Yeah, she's got a great collection. Yeah. Yeah, she's got a great collection. Yeah, Sally's been doing bonsai for 35 or 40 years. She started in the Bay Area with the plantings, and she studied with them for a long time, and then moved down here and joined Sampukai, and she's been a loyal member of Sampukai for 25 or 30 years too. So
this is a really nice collection.
yeah, we built all these. She used to live in another house in another part of Poway here, and that house burnt down.
Oh no.
And her collection, a lot of it burnt. And so, similar to myself, so we salvaged what trees we could, and we did a beautiful Japanese garden there for her, with beautiful Japanese fences and everything, and
I think it's pretty awesome. I mean,
oh, this is great. Yeah, so this is kind of a new deal. It's not new, but she's been here about 10 years. So we built all these benches and just have been collecting these. She's had a lot of these trees for many, many years. So,
let's go through them.
okay.
She has an awesome setup here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on full sun.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that this, want to shade their trees, and this is a good example. This is pretty much Escondido, and these are in full sun from morning until night, and they're not too much sun. They're beautiful. As long as they're watered every day, they do beautifully. And,
What's temperature-wise compared to Vista here? This is much warmer?
This is a little bit warmer, about like the Wild Animal Park.
Okay.
Maybe not quite as warm as the Wild Animal Park, because they do get a breeze in the afternoon here, and she gets good airflow through this area.
Oh, yeah.
So that makes a little bit of a difference. But
Oh my gosh, she has a Chinese silk tree.
yeah, she's got two or three of them actually. Yeah.
Oh, so how do they do out here? Because I always wanted one. I just don't have the guts to buy one yet.
No, they do great. They just.
They don't back bud very easily,
no,
do they?
They do. Yeah,
They do?
In fact, I see all these are cut back. We cut back all these, and all this is new. All this is brand new. And you could they'll bud back on the trunk too.
That's
if you have the huevos to cut it down to that.
that's what I'm worried about,
Yeah, Sally kind of hesitates cutting them back too much, but I know from experience, you can see all.
Yeah. So where you cut them, they
they
don't bud back advantageously. They like where their cuts are.
Yeah, they bud back, close to the cut. Yeah, almost always. This is a quince that it looks a little rough this time of year.
Oh, they all do.
But
that looks really nice.
This is the quince that we showed at.
It's her quince.
At Baikoen.
Oh yeah, that was flowering really well too.
It was beautiful. It was a white. Is it white?
It was a white. Yeah,
white
so it's going toward the white.
Tommy has a lot of quince too, Sally. He's a quince guy.
Yeah, Sal, this is an awesome collection what you have here.
Thank you. I wanted to tell you that I feel that the prettiest view of this collection if you go through that gate right there, and you go up this trail just a little bit, maybe around where that big rock is or someplace up there.
Yeah, and you can see
Turn
that.
around and look back at
Perfect.
it.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll for sure do that.
Yeah.
This is all. So you've been doing bonsai for a while, I hear.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, 40 years or plus. Yeah.
And your favorite trees are flowering, I presume?
She loves quinces. She's my quince girl.
Yeah, I guess flowering. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And she has a lot of quinces here, and they do very well here in full sun all summer. You know, it's pretty. See the breeze? You get a
Yes.
nice breeze here in the afternoon, usually about 12 o'clock. Starts a breeze, so it kind of cools off. It's not super hot. You know, what was it the last few days? It was like
Well,
90,
it's pretty,
95,
yeah.
90, 95, you know, here. So it does get hot, it does get warm. You have to water every day, but
And then you're watering everything by hand, I presume.
yeah, she waters.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's a finicky waterer.
Yeah.
She waters everything very carefully behind because she doesn't
I
like.
like to be able to check on them.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it, you know. And fertilize as well. You know, fertilizer's a big thing.
It's very beautiful. I'm jealous. This is what I want my collection to look like this one day.
Well, thank you.
mine too.
Thank you for saying so. Steve is a tremendous help, of course.
That's awesome. We're going to go through your collection. Thank you, Sally, for letting us come by today.
Sure.
Some pomegranates. All pretty old tree. Quince. Kind of a yokonai. Pomegranate. This is an old bogey that we've been just actually last year, this froze. It does get cold enough here to freeze. And we had 3 or 4 trees freeze pretty hard this year.
Oh yeah, a
fact,
couple nights of frost.
Yeah, pretty stiff frost. So the bogey froze back. We throw a sheet over them, but still it was strong enough that it froze all the way back to the trunk.
Really?
This did, and a ficus froze a little bit.
Oh, so it was cold for
It was
more than
real-
it was cold. It
yeah.
was more than one night then.
Really, really cold. Yeah.
Yeah, usually I
unusual.
usually throw like a plastic bag over the boogies and
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
pretty well.
I mean, I just throw a sheet over them usually at my house. You know, if it's going to be really cold for 6 or 8 hours, I throw a sheet over, and they're always fine. But I get, you know, because my house is a hillside, I get a good airflow off of that, so it the cold doesn't stay up there too much. But so this is an old bogey that's kind of nice. Wonky, a little bit, this is for beginners. This is a great idea. We just built a box. It's just a 2x4 box on a piece of plywood, and a grow box. It's just filled with scoria. And you know, now we just have all these. You know, we're about ready to dig all this crap out of it, but you know, it's just a good place to put shohin trees and little accent pieces, and
without drying them out.
you know, you don't have to water.
It's almost like a water table, but
It's like a water table, exactly. So,
she has a really extensive collection. I mean, it's varied. It's not just all one type.
right. No, I work here every week, so it keeps me busy.
No, you're the custodian. Huh?
I'm the custodian of this collection, yes. Between myself and Sally. So we had some trees some junipers that were just kind of, we call them yokonai.
What does that mean?
It means, in Japanese, it means not remarkable.
No.
And I learned that term by Mr. Mitsuya, going to the collection at the Wild Animal Park at one point and going, Yokonai. You know, he looked at John Naka's tree that was out there and went, Yokonai.
Oh.
So I asked Kathy what that meant, and not remarkable. So anyway, but we've, you know, we've been slowly kind of turning them into, you know, some fairly decent little trees, you know.
I noticed that she has these tags. Does she write on these tags?
She writes on every one of these trees.
Let me go ahead and take this out so you guys look at. This is this is really remarkable.
I mean, she is
Look at that.
avid.
I mean, it tells you when had mite damage. I'm just reading this really quick. When it was repotted, trimmed,
right,
down to the date.
And then she's got a notebook that every time we work on a tree, she writes everything that we did.
I mean, that's something.
I mean, way more than I do.
I mean, half the time it's like I repotted 2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
This is
exactly.
really well documented. I think that's something I might have to do a video on how to document your trees.
And it's kind of interesting. These are plastic window shit, you know, like
the
levelers.
Yeah.
Window, and they just cut them up and make these little
mini blinds. That's what
mini
they call
blinds. Yeah, and they work great. The metal ones work best, but they don't make mini ones. They
make the plastic ones now.
They're plastic ones now, so we just kind of converted to these. This is an interesting tree, kind of a cool old tree.
Very
Came from
nice
a cow
woodman.
pasture up in Northern California somewhere. We really don't know what it is. We don't know what variety it is. Kind of looks like percumbens, but it's not really, and it's, you know, something
It's
weird.
really good movement.
Yeah, it's got great movement. It's a wonderful tree. And so, again, more, you know, this is kind of our juniper area here. And then another thing that Sally does really well is olives. And she's had these tiny olives for a long time. And we just potted these in this is actually the front.
Are they small leaf olive?
They are small. Well, they're small leaf because they were seedlings. You know, seedling olives, when you get them from seedlings that pop up, they're generally much smaller leaf.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
So it's always best to collect seedlings as opposed to
So,
cuttings.
a big tree,
Right.
basically, like olive
Right,
tree.
Exactly. But she's pretty religious about clipping these. As you can see, they're not all nice, and because it's so sunny here, they're all really nice and tight, compact and hard.
I noticed there's no shade structure, so
Nope.
she just
No shade at all. And you know, she's been here 10 years, and it's just been one. You know, she just does real well. We just repotted this, and this, and these were in kind of bigger, deeper, rounder pots, kind of like this. And so this one's got a little bit of dieback on it, but I mean a little leaf drop. But that's a. Oh, this is the front actually.
When's a good time to repot olives or that stuff? Is
Yep.
it summertime usually?
Summertime, absolutely. July, August.
Well,
July-
it's not
July.
nice and hot.
July is the best time to do olives.
Oh, there we go, people.
And yeah, July, and you can see this kind of same deal. Kind of nice and tight, beautiful little olives. She loves olives. She loves quinces. And you know, I tend to group my trees together as to variety. She has hers kind of spread everywhere. She likes it that way.
Oh, she comes out every day.
She comes out. She water. You know, it takes her 2 hours to water every day. So, you know, she spends a lot.
How's
of
the water out here compared to where you are?
It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, about
City
the same.
water.
Yeah, it's city water, but our water is different than a lot of places. Our water is pretty good here. It's still Colorado River-ish, but it's mixed. It's pretty good. Quince, another quince. She's another thing she's kind of famous for are these rosemarys.
Those are so rosemarys are so fickle.
They're kind of fickle, and so we kind of baby them a little bit. And there's one over here that's this one.
That's really cool.
I mean, you know, and look at the movement on the wood on this. It's just, you know,
See,
this is a beautiful
Rosemarys.
pot in, but with a knockout.
Rosemarys don't like to be the roots touched. They're so fickle.
They are fickle.
I mean, you touch them the wrong way, you look at them the wrong way, they
Sally
die.
gets very nervous whenever I want to prune, whenever I want to mess with the rosemarys.
I think pruning's not the issue. I think the root pruning.
The roots, yeah. When we repot them, we don't repot them that often, but when we do,
it's a touch and go, isn't it?
You can see even the liquid ambers do very well. No burn on the foliage. They do great here. Look how nice and tight the Shinpaku foliage is.
Yeah, that's nice.
This reminds me like at Masishi's.
Yeah, it does.
Masishi's nursery.
But he's right at the coastline,
He's
though.
kind of at the coast, but it's hot there.
Yes.
You know, and if you come feel this, and it's just beautiful. I mean,
I don't need it. Just looking at it,
yeah,
it's just so compact.
Tight. It's so nice and tight. While we're here, kind of back around here, Tommy. I brought this up to Baikoen one time. We just put this in this container. We took it out of a deep pot, a deep rectangular pot, and this is a ficus.
Look at that.
You know, as you can see.
Microphylla?
Yep, same as the other one. But this was a tree that just had 4 big kind of branches like this, about this tall, ugly as sin.
And then whacked it back?
We just cut them all off to nothing, to no foliage whatsoever. And we've been working on it for about 3 years now. But boy, what a wonderful trunk in that, isn't it? A beautiful trunk.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing that she does, I made all these copper tags for her. Every tree, not every tree, but the majority of the good trees have these.
And that's how she numbered. That's her nomenclature on it.
They're all numbered. Every tree's numbered. So.
I wonder if she has like photos of these trees going back.
I do have photos of the. Every time I work on a tree, I take a photo as well.
So you have a time log of them.
Yep, exactly. So the stratas, these are just kind of junky trees. This is ready to be trimmed.
Styled again.
Just kind of cut back a little bit. This is kind of a nice little. The one thing that's kind of weird with olives is that most people style them like pines.
Oh, yes, with the strict pads.
Yeah, and they really should be like olive trees. And this is kind of one that kind
It's
of
a really
tends
naturalistic.
to look like an olive tree, and we really, really like it. So,
It's easier, less fuss.
yeah, it's less fuss, less fuss. Here's one of the
Tamarick.
tamarisk that, and that's the way they look.
Nice weeping style.
They're weeping style. They're beautiful. They're very soft and elegant and kind of feminine. And
So they need to be full sun, water
Yeah.
sitting. Can they sit? They probably can sit in a tub of water and
they
be
could
happy.
sit. Yeah, absolutely could. They could sit in a tub of water, and they just do fine. San Jose Juniper here. This is the front.
It's just well kept trees.
Yeah, well,
And she has enough room to display too. I think
yeah,
that's
she
that's.
does.
I think
Nothing's crowded together.
Correct. I think-
That's so nice to be able to do that. It really does. And she has,
I think that's what I need to do is pare down my collection to a point that I can just.
keep the best
Yes.
and dump the rest, baby.
Yes.
Yeah,
But the problem is we get this, the bug eye. We're like, oh, I have to have it.
I know. This is one of the nicest old cascades I've seen in a long time. In fact, I normally don't really like cascades.
Oh, that's a nice long.
But isn't it a beautiful cascade?
It's not like it's very feminine.
It's very feminine and lacy. It's beautiful. It needs a little trim right now, but it got a little burn. It got a little funny this winter.
Little spider mite.
No spider mite, but it got a little had a little dieback in a few areas and stuff. This is that quince I was telling you about. I mean, this thing is just growing like a weed. See, it's still blooming like crazy.
They do pretty well, but it's just
This one's got a little virus. Do you ever see this?
Yeah, the variegated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a couple. I've picked about 5 quinces off of this. I'm going to let one grow, but it's continued to bloom all summer long. I brought it over here because Sally really loves the quince flowers,
quinces.
the blossoms, and so I brought it over here for her to enjoy. Here's a couple of elms, a couple of old elms that we double potted. Again, they're in nice pots, but they're double potted to.
And those are not just pots; those are more like colanders, aren't they?
Well, just like a colander, yeah. It's a cheap Dollar Tree basket is what it is.
Okay, so why do we use those instead? So if people don't understand, why do we use like colanders and cheap baskets?
Well, colanders in general are used as a growing device because as the roots get close to the outside, they'll die back. They won't go outside the container.
So they're air pruned.
They're air pruned, exactly. I use these because these are double potted. These are in bonsai pots, and I just double potted these and just use these because they were cheap and handy. And these 2 trees, these little elms, they're in such small pots that they really. That's one thing. In my house, they don't suffer, as you can see.
Yeah.
My elms were much more healthy than these. But her elms kind of suffer a little bit here because it is real
It's
hot.
pretty dry. They dry
well,
out faster.
It's just hot. It's just hot, and so they would probably do a little bit better under shade. But because we double potted them and she waters often enough, they're doing fine.
I'm just jealous. She had. It's just
Isn't
a
it
good
beautiful?
flow. Yes, it's just a good flow.
It's wonderful.
Versus ours is just compact.
Yeah, it's just like a pile. We have basically a pile of crap. This is a bonsai garden.
Yes.
That's the difference.
That's something I aspire to my garden to look like one day.
Exactly. This is a group of liquid ambers, regular liquid amber that we were separate, and we potted them up together about 2.5 years ago.
So there were separate trees at one
There were
point.
separate trees. I mean, there was a group, and there was 3 or 4 separate trees, and we potted them up in one of those big mica pots. You know, about this deep. This, you know,
The big ones.
big mica pot. And then this last year, we put it in this. It's a Chinese pot, but it's still.
But
really
it looks good.
Oh, it looks beautiful. Yeah, and it's doing very, very well. I've already trimmed it twice this year, so I mean, you know, it grows out like this every year. So it's a very nice tree. Trident maples do okay.
I'm surprised. I thought they do really well in this weather. You know.
Yeah, Tridents do well here. I mean, they do better. They do fine here. This one was an air layer off of this one actually. More quinces.
What's that tree behind you? That looks really different. Eucalyptus? No.
Oh, this is an interesting tree. This is it's Rhino. It's a coral tree.
Coral tree?
Yeah, it's a coral tree, but it's got beautiful bark. The bark is just tremendous on it. I mean, the bark
Really
is
rough.
really rough and beautiful. And
plated.
it gets these beautiful long spiky flowers, and it just bloomed about a month ago, and it finished blooming, so that's why we cut it all back.
Mhm.
It grows real fast and well in the hot weather. It really likes hot weather, and so we take advantage of that, and it blooms, and then we cut it back hard, and then it'll all pop out, and it'll get about this big. And then in the winter, it loses all its leaves.
Oh.
So yeah, it's deciduous in the winter.
Oh my God! It keeps going.
Yeah, there's a few more over here.
Her pedestals are awesome.
Yeah, no, these pedestals were at the other house, and they made it through the fire. The pedestals did. All the other benches we built special for this garden.
We're gonna talk about that tree. That's really
Yeah,
cool. Nice.
Yeah, this is a San Jose juniper. Came from a nursery called Finamex, and it was up in Rainbow. And Sally had got it about probably 25 years ago, in a 5-gallon can. And we've shown it several times, and it's really a nice tree.
It's really good looking.
And yeah, and this is her pepper tree.
Oh, she has one too.
Yeah, she's got a pepper tree too, and it's a pretty nice tree. And in fact, this one, it was all dying back on the inside, so we cut it back. We didn't defoliate this one. This is a female tree. It gets beautiful.
Oh, so this one gets berries.
Gets beautiful berries all over it. So,
Here's the flowers right now. Flowers
yeah,
are
it's just starting to flower.
just starting to
yeah.
bloom there.
Yeah,
So
and it kind of had some dieback here in the center, and so you can see that we've let it grow back. And as these are, starting to shoot now, we're pushing it back a little bit, so it'll encourage more growth in the center. And eventually, we'll be able to clean it all out and cut it all back. But it's actually the last couple of years we've been working on this pretty hard to get it to fill up in the center, because they do tend to die back in the center. I don't know why.
Man, there's no sunlight, no air.
No sunlight, yeah, and it's just, so.
Let's do one of her last ones out here. She has one more bench. This looks like her growing bench.
Yeah, this is kind of a little bit of a grape. She's got a nice little grapevine.
Oh, it's hidden behind.
Yeah, it's got, this is this thing here, but it's got a little bunch of grapes on it. But usually this thing is covered in grapes.
That's an old, that's a Zinfandel. That's an old one.
That's an old vine, yep. Yep. And a couple of little old cypress trees and another quince.
Oh, you guys see this quince with this fruit on it. It's like barely hanging on.
Yeah.
Look at that. This is awesome.
Yeah, isn't it nice?
Well, we got to thank Sally for letting us come by and really doing this. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. This is her wisteria over here, which is really nice as well.
Oh,
We showed this at Minnesota.
this is a purple or pink?
Yes. Purple. We showed this at California a couple years, last year I think. Was it last year or year before? I get them mixed up now.
How do you guys get it to flower in a pot? Do you guys
It just
dry out? Do you guys let it? Because there's different.
She just waters every day,
Oh.
I mean, mine, you know, it's been kind of, it flowered really well, and then it didn't flower very well, and then it flowered again, and you know, it's just kind of hit or miss, huh, Sally?
Your
How do we get
wisteria.
this to flower every year? And we just,
Yours is better than others.
yeah, and we just pray. Pray that it's going to work. So,
It's an awesome collection, Sally.
Thank you.
This is, if you have 1 or 2 tips to give new beginners, what would it be?
Oh dear. Be bold.
What do you mean be bold?
Cut, cut, cut.
there you go.
There you go. Don't be afraid, huh? Just
Don't be
gotta
afraid.
do
Be
it.
afraid.
Because it'll probably grow back, right?
Well, yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Well, if it wasn't meant to be, you know,
That's more like
it's a shortcut that didn't make it.
right.
Thank
yeah.
you, Sally, for
Yeah.
your collection. This is an awesome collection.
Did you get up on the
No, we're
trail?
gonna do that in a minute. But yes,
Okay.
that was this. I love. You know what? It's the
It's
house.
so-
It's
it's
the
so
whole.
nice.
It's a nice setting.
It's
Yes.
a beautiful setting.
Nice setting for a collection.
Yes, it really
Yes.
is. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful setting. And the way they're treated, you know, I love the way the trees aren't crowded. They're all
Yes.
spread out. You know, and if we need another bench, we build another bench. You know, and it's, you know,
As
just,
long as Steve is around.
you know, so,
Well, thank you, Sally, for your time today. It's
Well,
wonderful,
thank
and
you
thank
for
you for
coming.
letting us come by.
Very happy to have you come by.
Thank you so much. Let's go up on that ridge, take a
okay.
photo.
All right.